Hi, Frank. I don't know if it's going to work. Well, maybe a little better than last week. Let's see what we can do, okay? First thing I want to tell you is we're working on Camptown Races. I put the numbers above were the fingers that you were supposed to use. So the first note, you're going to use your fourth finger. Remember, thumbs are 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. The other hand, 1, 2, 3, 4. So your ring man is 4. And that's what you're starting on, your fourth finger there. You were right. You have an F sharp and a C sharp. That's the 2 sharps you have. However, the melody of the song doesn't hit a C. So you don't have a C sharp there in the melody. But in your chords, you're going to have a C sharp. Okay? So you're in the key of D. You have F sharp and C sharp. You're in the key of D. And you notice that you start with a D chord. And you end with a D chord. Okay? Because you're in the key of D. Okay? So the first thing you need to know is your D scale. And everything's based on chords and scales. And that's what we're going to try to learn. And I think it'll really help you when you're doing this stuff on your own, if you understand the theory. And that's what we really need to learn. So we're going to learn a D scale right now. Starting with our left hand. I'm going to see if I can get this down here so you can see my fingers. Starting with the left hand, my pinky is going to start on D. See if I can get where I can see it. Okay, a little better maybe. D, next note, E, next note, F sharp, next note, G, next note, A. Cross over now with my tall man, my middle finger, B, C sharp, and D. That's how we got there. Do it again. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. That's your D scale. You need to practice that in your left hand. Going up and then going down. Start on the D, C sharp, B, under with your thumb, A, G, F sharp, E, D. You need to practice that every time before you play your song, so you've got Good. Now you play your D chord. You remember that the major chord, we put our finger on the note D. We count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And that's how we get our notes there. We've got a D, an F sharp, and an A. That's a D chord. Okay? You can do that in both hands. Also, in this hand, we'll do our D scale. See if I can do it with this hand. Starting on my thumb, up to my third finger, go under with my thumb, from D to D. And you remember you've got the F sharp and the C sharp in there, and there's your D chord. And play it up higher too. Okay, so you need to practice that. Now our Camptown Races is going to start on an A note with our fourth finger in our right hand. So fourth finger, and then the F sharps. See how I have a 2 above it? You're going to use your second finger. See see how your hand's all in a good position there to play that? Second line, same thing. You got your fourth finger there. Now look at there. I've got a 3 above this note, this F sharp. Put your third finger there. That's your tall man, middle one. And you end on your thumb on that last note there on the D. Does that make sense? Starts on the fourth finger, second finger, second finger, second finger, thumb. That's the thumb. Back to your fourth finger. See how I got there? So on this note, the E with my second finger. I moved my second finger there. I go to my third finger on the F sharp and come right down, and I end up with my thumb on the D, and that's what you're going to do there, okay? On the next 2 lines, you've got numbers written for your fingers that you're going to use. So on the 3rd line here, we start with our thumb on D. And when we go up to the F sharp, you put your second finger there. See my second finger? And then I put my third finger on the A and my 5th finger on the D. That's how I get there. Okay, let's try it again. Sorry, not quite seeing that. Okay, you see it? Starts on 1, second finger on the F sharp, third finger on the A, 5th finger on the D. Good. Now we go to the B. I put a 3 there. That means you're tall man. 1, 2, 3. Remember, thumbs are 1. 1, 2, 3. That's the third finger is going to play B. Got it? So you've got third finger, 5th finger, third finger, ending up on number 2. That's your pointer. Right there. That's pointer right there. That guy. Number 2. Good. Now, last line, we're going to lift our hand. Put your 4th finger on the note you were just on. So just lift your hand, put your 4th finger there. That's ring, man. That's where my ring is. See it? 4th finger, second finger on F sharp, 4th finger, pinky, second finger. Good. Now we're on an E. We're going to put our thumb here. Now we're going to use our 3rd finger, that's the middle finger, up to the F sharp. And then your 4th finger, back down, and you end up on your thumb. You see how we did it? We were on E with our thumb, then we put our 3rd finger on the F sharp, then our 4th finger on G, come back to the 3rd finger on F sharp, 2nd finger on E, and we end up right there with our thumb on D. See how that works? Now it's important to use that fingering, the same fingering every time, okay? So practice it that way. Now the other thing you have here are 3 chords. The first chord is a D chord. You know how to find that. Put your pinky on D. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So you've got a D, an F sharp, and an A, and that's your D chord. Now we're going to go to an A7 chord. This is the one where I said you've got a C sharp, a G, and an A. Got it? And you play that. Back to your D. Here's your A7 again. C sharp, G, A. So you want to practice those first 2 lines using those chords with the right fingers in the right hand, the correct fingers in the left hand till you get it. Now you go to that 3rd line, starts with a D, comes to a G. We're going to use an inversion. We call it an inversion. And well, let's go to the root position so it doesn't confuse you as much, because I want to explain more about that. So let's start that line again. Remember those fingers because you ended up with your pinky up here. Then we're going to go to the G chord, build it on G. sharp, G, A. And that's how you're going to get there. I hope that makes some sense. So I want you to practice that until that really feels good to you. Okay, now the other song that we're working on is the Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly. And this one, you're going to play an octave up, higher than it's written. You start on a G note there, and I start with my 5th finger. And in order to get that B, I just crossed over with my 2nd finger to get it. So I put my hand in a just regular 5-finger position. See if I can get where you can see that a little bit better. I'm looking here. Haven't done this a lot, so I don't know exactly how to do it. Thank you, Frank, for being patient with me. Okay, so here I am. 5th finger on G. I got on my thumb. I'm going to cross over with my 2nd finger and come back to my thumb. Just like that. See it? So you want to practice that. Those fingers are going to have to learn to move, and you can do it. I know you can. Cross over and come back. And the 2nd line, exactly the same. Good job. That's the first 2 lines of the song. So they're the same, aren't they? I really like that. Now you've got 2 chords here. The first chord you have, a C chord. And we're going to play it up an octave. We've got C, E, G. Then we've got a G7. The G7 right here, it's got a B, an F, a G. See how I have these 2 fingers squished together there? Just like that, that's your G7 chord. And there's the C chord. And that's all you have on those first 2 lines. And that's what we'll focus on this week. So let's try these first 2 lines. Now the other thing we want to talk about here is we're in the key of C. We don't have any sharps or flats in our key signature over here, right? C scale you know, but you need to start practicing it. You start on C. When you get to your 3rd finger, go under with your thumb till you get to C. Now come down. Thumb, I ran out. Tall man comes over. And that's how you finger it. C scale, up and down. Practice that for me. Left hand starts on our pinky finger. Oops, I ran out. Cross over with tall man, your 3rd one. Come on down. Get there, go under with your thumb. When you get to your 3rd finger, under with your thumb. Do it again, here we go. Right up to your thumb. Cross over with your tall finger. Coming down, 1, 2, 3, under. Important to practice those. And you've got the 2 chords, the C chord and the G7 chord and the C chord. Okay, so we use our pinky, our middle finger, our thumb. For the G7, our pinky, our pointer finger, and our thumb. And then they come back like this, okay? So this week, if you could focus on the first 2 lines of Deck the Halls with your scale and your chords, and Camptown Races all the way through with your scale and your chords, we'd be really doing a lot. Okay, there's one more thing I wanted to show you this week, and then when I talk to you, I'll answer questions. I'm going to send you a copy of this. See if I can see you there. You can see me anyway. I'm going to send you just a note here on chords and inversions. Okay, that's what's bothering you a little bit because the inversions mix up the notes, the order of the notes. And we didn't talk too much about that before, but you need to understand that now. That's what's confusing you some on this. So we learned that finding a major chord, we can put our pinky down or our thumb down on whatever note, and we count 4 plus 3. And in the minor, if we want the minor, we put our either our pinky or our thumb on the name of the chord, and we count 3 plus 4, right, for our minors. So 4 plus 3 for majors, 3 plus 4 for minors. Sometimes we run into the 7th chord. Now there's all kinds of 7th chords, but the one we're going to talk about right now, it just has a 7, just a 7 all by itself next to the letter of the chord. Like on Camptown Races, it had an A and then a 7. To find the 7th chord like that, you're adding a 4th note, okay? You're finding another note. And in order to find that next note, you're going to count up 3. So listen, I'll try to explain it, and then we'll talk about it too if you're confused. The major chord, like a C7, would start on a C note, and we'd count up our 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3, 1, 2, 3, and to get the 7th, we'd count up another 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's here. Oopsie. You see it? So I was here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now I count up 1, 2, 3. Oops, I'm trying to get you to see it. And it's a B flat right there. That's a 7th chord. For a minor 7th chord, you'd find the chord and you'd count 3 plus 4. We know that, so we go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, and count another 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's how you find the 7th, okay? Now, one other thing that's bothering you a little bit is that chords can come in different forms. So we've only really learned what we call root position, where the name of the chord is on the bottom. And inversion means that it could be the same chord, and this has to have the same notes, but they can come in different orders. That's what's bothering you a little bit when you're looking at your music, okay? So on this sheet that I'm sending you, I've got an inversion has the same letter notes, but they can come in any order. You know how we spell cat, C-A-T, and it has to be C-A-T to be cat. It can't be A-T-C or T-C-A because it's going to be a different word. But in music, the chords they have the same notes in, but they can come in a different order, and it's still the same chord, okay? We have a root position, a first inversion, second inversion, third inversion. We have inversions. Don't worry about the word right now, but let's just know that the chord has the same notes, but it can come in a different order. So a C chord is usually, we learned it, C, E, G. And that is a C chord. But you could have a chord written on one of your music and it shows you, and it could be E, G, C. That's still a C chord, but it's inverted. Okay, they've changed the way the notes come, but it's the same notes. There's another way to play C, which is G, C, E. Still a C chord, same notes, but in a different order. They can rotate to different orders, and there's a reason why we do that, but I don't want to talk about it right now. But I want you to understand that you said that you had a piece of music that had your C chord, but I think you said it had a G and a C and an E, and that's still a C chord. Or you could have an E, G, C. That's still a C chord. It's called what we call an inversion, okay? So we'll talk about that a little bit more, but I just wanted you to understand that. So any chord can be inverted, meaning that it flips the notes of the chord around. And sometimes we don't play say in the 7th chords, we don't play all of the notes sometime. As you notice on that A7 chord that we're playing, we're only playing 3 notes. So we're leaving one of the notes out. If you actually figured out what notes are in it. Okay? And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But right now, when you play your A7 chord, just play it the way I showed you, which was the C sharp, the G, and the A, because that works best with this Camptown Races that we're learning here. Because see how smoothly it goes back and forth? That's one reason why we use what they call inversions, okay? All right, so I'm hoping that this is better this week, and I think we'll get better. I'll try to get this to you, and then I'll talk with you tomorrow and answer some questions that you have. And looking forward to it, Frank. So have a great day, and talk to you tomorrow. Bye.